Welcome to Kaiser Watch with John Kaiser. I'm your host, Jim Goddard. What's coming up on the show today, John?
Jim, today we're going to talk about what my two conferences were like last weekend, a bit about where the favorites stand now, and a new graduate from the bottom fish collection to the favorite collection.
What was your Vancouver conference experience like?
I had a very good experience at the conference, but that is because I get a lot of research done. I was both there at the Metals Investor Forum Friday and Saturday, and at the VRIC conference Sunday and Monday. Able to make contact with a lot of companies that I had on the short list to check out and put a face to a name, become more familiar with the people. But the sense was both conferences, especially in the mornings, were very well attended. But there is still something missing from this sector. I could not pick up any vibe that there is any conviction that this endless bear market is coming to an end and that we are entering a bull cycle. And I had my 5 companies, which are all favorites, present on Friday. And when I checked the markets Monday, there was barely any change in action. And this was the case with many of the other companies also. There was one exception, but we'll talk about that a little later. It's clear the market is concerned that this is not changing. There was a good audience there, but very, very little action. Now, the 5 companies, their corporate presentations and the backstage interviews are now online. If you go to my website, you'll go find a blog piece that has all their links there. So you just click on it and watch that. Especially watch the backstage interviews, because I ask a series of complex questions. You get a chance to see the company representatives give interesting answers to them. Now, my favorites index was up 8% as of Thursday, and all of them are up except for 6, which are slightly down. That compares to gold, which is up 5.1% for the year, and the TSX Venture Index, which is up 3.2%. Now, the interesting development is that this week on Wednesday, gold reached an all-time high of $2,751.80 per ounce on the LBMA market. That's the London overnight market. But what was very curious was on Friday, the GLD ETF gained 332,000 ounces in one shot. But when trading resumed on Tuesday after the Martin Luther King holiday on Monday, which was also the Trump's inauguration day, it has lost 479,825 ounces. For the year, it is now down 267,555 ounces. So again, this was part of my theme in my presentation is Americans are not buying gold. They are shunning gold. They are buying garbage like Trump and Melania meme coins and other stuff like that. I don't know when that will change in the United States, and obviously this has a bearing on gold producers, gold developers, and gold explorers also. So this inflection where the audience starts to embrace this sector, it has not happened yet. The one important buzz at both the Metals Investor Forum and the VRIC conference, and the following days at the BC Roundup conference, which is a technical show, was on Friday. Amarc Resources put out results from the final phase of drilling on their Joy project, and the stock rocketed, and they put out more results on Monday, and it reached a high of 92 cents. And this week, on Wednesday, after it had retreated back to 61 cents, I graduated this company, Amarc Resources, from the bottom fish collection to the 2025 favorites collection. And I think this development is very significant for the sector.
Why did Amarc Resources graduate from the bottom fish collection to the 2025 favorites collection?
Amarc Resources is part of the Hunter Dickinson Group, HDI as they now call it. Bob Hunter passed away a long time ago, but Bob Dickinson is still the sort of founder and leader of this group. And I shake my head. I was just checking. Amarc Resources was a bottom fish back in 1998. So this company has been a bottom fish candidate on and off for almost a quarter century, never done a rollback, and its focus has always been BC exploration, and it never really found anything similar to Mount Milligan or the Chemis deposits that ended up becoming a mine. So it was this perennial explorer company, and in 2023, for that favorites collection, I made it a favorite because I could tell Bob Dickinson was rolling up his sleeves. He had a couple of good farm outs, in particular the Joy farm out to Freeport, and he had also made the Ike discovery 100% owned, and they were looking at the northern part of this property, what they call the Empress, the contact between two major geological provinces where there is some not well understood gold potential that they have been trying to sort out as separate from the copper moly silver Ike porphyry deposit. But then I dropped them last year from the collection because nothing seemed to be happening. And on Friday, they put out a press release for the Aurora Zone. And the Aurora Zone is in the northern part of the Joy property, which sits between that Shasta Baker project of TDG Gold Corp and the Chemis project to the south. And they've spent $33 million since optioning it in 2021. The HDI group operates it because they have all the experience with dealing with First Nations and logistics and permitting. And it's curious, in my KRO profile, I had a graphic from 2022, which showed this a rectangle where the northwest Gossan is located. So almost all of this $33 million was spent in a sort of northeast-southwest trend in the southern part of the property where they developed the lowish grade pine deposit. And they knocked off about 6 more of these IP anomalies that they had developed in areas where there were Gossans. And this was the very last one in the season. And it produced a fabulous result. So here's an example. For example, hole 74 has 162 meters, starting at 69 meters, so definitely within open pitable range of 2.19 gram per ton gold and 0.63% copper. And the copper grade's, decent. For most of these holes, it's above 0.4%, but it is the exceptional gold grades, which range as high as 3 grams per ton over long widths. And they included a table showing the sample breakdown, and there are none of these crazy spikes where there's some 1 meter interval that goes to 150 grams that allows grade smearing. If you look at the table, you can see that it's consistent. The gold is consistent throughout it, and it'll go up to like 8 grams per ton in places. These are 3 meter intervals that they reported, but it is this consistency which is fabulous. And on Monday they put out a second set of results for the line of holes to the north of this one, and they were similar, and the stock shot to 92 cents. Now, this Aurora anomaly is in an area which seems to have been an exploration dead zone. It's wedged between the TDG Gold's Shasta Newberry target area. To the east is the Brenda property, which is owned by the now suspended Canasil Resources, which has owned it since 1985, but it got suspended in 2023 for failure to file. They had mainly focused on Mexico. And to the north is Finlay Minerals with its Pill project, which Cascadia Minerals had auctioned but dropped at the very end of last year, which was, I guess, a very untimely thing to do for that junior, but a bit of a boost for Finlay. But in that whole area where this Aurora zone sits, there was no work done. It's always been elsewhere. And I asked somebody, why would this Gossan not have been been checked out ages ago, and the person said this region has so many gossans, and most of them are absolutely worthless. So it's just probably an access and convenience thing. Nothing special at surface, and this thing now is a major change for the whole Toodoggone district, because when Chemist was discovered back in the late 80s or early 90s, it had a higher gold component than was typical for BC copper porphyry deposits. But this is another major step change on the upside. And because this has been hidden in this sort of pocket of, nondescript gossanous area, and now they finally look at it and poke a hole into it and get something that says, hey, the Toodoggone district is capable of very special gold grades along with the copper. And so far it looks like a tabular body, maybe a couple 100 meters thick, trending sort of in a northwest direction. And the poor shareholders of Amarc, they've been like stuck in this company forever because the stock was always down in the 10-15 cents range. Bob Dickinson could never raise much money for its 100% owned projects. And they also have the Duke project farmed out to Boliden, which has indicated it's going to go for another year. And ironically, Freeport had not yet signaled that it was going to continue another year. Now, they are $2 million short of vesting for 60%. They need to spend $35 million. When I talked to Diane Nicholson, she said, well, with all the logistics and planning and stuff like that, they'll have vested for 60% before we even resume drilling in this part of the world, which is sort of May, June is when you can get back in there and start drilling. So this creates a bit of a quandary for Amarc Resources at 60%. After that, Freeport has the option to go to 70% by spending another $75 million over 5 years. Now, they're probably sitting there like, we obviously have a future mine on our hands. The first $33 million is going to, that we spent has finally paid off. And there may be even, we haven't seen the limits of where this all goes yet. We should go 60-40, start cash calling Amarc, and then do a takeover bid and acquire it. So obviously the HDI group is not stupid. They're already thinking, okay, we need to start planning to spin out the Joy project as a separate entity so that Freeport can acquire it and have 100% of this project and develop it. And the stock ran to 90 cents, and all these shareholders, long-suffering shareholders, a lot of them bailed. And because at sort of even at 60 cents, the Amarc has an implied value of $500 to $600 million based on its net 30% interest in the Joy project. So the upside based on that alone is not huge, but they have 100% of the Joy. And now is an opportunity for them to put $10 million into the bank at these levels. It's no longer as dilutionary as doing that at 10 cents. So I expect this to happen shortly. And that's another reason people sell off the stock. They say, oh yeah, there'll be a financing coming. We can always reload and that. So let's finally take our profits, sit back. And when I saw all this unfolding, I said, okay, the Hunter Dickinson group is alive and well again. They've delivered a brand new discovery. They were the operators. And of course, Freeport consulted with them on everything they did do. But it was a junior which ended up leading this drive, and they persisted, even though $33 million had not accomplished very much. And it was kind of distressing to see how much money needs to be spent in order to come up with something significant. But as in that diagram that I had on my website showing this boxed area to the northwest, had they started up there, they would have had this discovery 2 years ago, and it would have been a completely different story. So right now, it's a favorite. People can go and get all the details on it. They'll go back to the Ike project where the Empress target in the north will have their attention. And in terms of the bottom fish collection, these other two companies, they are very interesting. They have 100% of their projects. the Aurora system clearly projects onto the one of these companies. So if you want to follow my coverage on that, this would be a good time to take advantage of the KRO individual membership for $450 US for the rest of 2025. That ends March 31st, after which it goes to $200 a month. But I will have the Substack system, Kaiser Watch Substack, available at $10 a month for people who want to follow my coverage on the on the favorites and watch for graduates from the bottom fish collection. Last year was a very sad year, not really any graduates from the bottom fish collection, but I have a feeling this year is going to be a very different year, even though we are not yet seeing validation in the market. The stars are lining up that the resource juniors are going to be heroes again after having become zeros during this 13, 14-year-long bear market with only a couple short-lived rallies in the middle of it.
John, thank you so much for the update.
You're welcome, Jim.
We've been speaking with John Kaiser. I'm Jim Goddard. Comments made on Kaiser Watch are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any manner whatsoever as a recommendation to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Archived online at kaiserresearch.com.